Welcome to Perfect Mind Martial Arts Day 2. Today we're going to talk about your office and your day-to-day operations. To get to your office, you can just click on Office up here at the top right-hand side. We're going to talk about contacts, calendar, campaigns, memberships, products, and a bit about reports today. Other lessons will be covered on other days. We're going to start off with our contacts. What we see here is one contact up at the top and then a list. This contact is featured. A featured contact could be someone who is your student of the month, so you want all your staff to recognize them. They could also be students who are delinquent or there's something important on file, so you're going to feature them just to keep them up at the top of the list. However, you don't have to feature your contacts. So below you'll see a list of your contacts. So that's kind of like the general view that you're going to see is a list like this. If you ever want to look at a contact specifically, you can just click on their name. If you want to create a new one, click on New Contact. The first part we see here is our membership information. So when we sell a membership to our contact, this area is actually going to automatically populate with the information. So what kind of pass they have, how long is it until it expires, how many classes they have, so that's for a punch pass, or maybe if they have a limited, so a 6-month membership where they can come as much as they like, that will have their expiry date, or if they're ongoing, so they pay a month to month, they'll have the ongoing box checked. You can see the same kind of fields here. You'll also see one called no membership, so they're either expired or they're a former student. You'll also see inquiries, so that's a lead, so someone who hasn't purchased anything with you yet. At this top part here, you'll also see that featured checkbox that we were talking about a little bit earlier. The next part is the basic information. So generally, if someone's starting out, they're either active or they're a lead. So if you know they're going to buy right away, you might as well make them active. If they're just starting out, they're just asking some questions, you might want to start them off as a lead. First name and last name, so that one's pretty straightforward. Quick note, so if you want to put a little quick note on file, you can put that in here. The employer, so whoever their employer happens to be. And you can also add a photo of your student. So you could have like a webcam, take a picture, click browse, and just grab that photo off your hard drive. It won't appear right away, but it will appear after you save. School information, so the enrollment date, we talked about automation on the day 1 lesson, and that basically says that there's different kinds of workflows that we have or ways of information automating for us, and one of those things is the enrollment date. So when you create your new student and you save them, the enrollment date will populate for you. You can disable this field if you don't want that enrollment date to populate with the day they're created. Missed payment, that's an automated field that will check off if they become delinquent. Last purchase date will also populate for you. Anything that populates on its own, by the way, anything that's automated, you can actually override at any time. Belt size, so if you want to track their belt sizes, you can put that in here. That's important, especially if you're running a test and you know everybody's sizes, they're probably going to get promoted. You can pre-order those belts, and there is actually a report that we have available to help you with that. Medical conditions, so there are some reports and different features that will help alert you of medical conditions, so you'll definitely want to put that on file. There's also main interests, so we talked about that yesterday, and that's just tracking what are they mostly here to do, what are they mostly interested in. So what you can do is you can click on the little magnifying glass, you can select the item from this list, and you can then, it will actually just fill in for you. If you want to add something new, so they tell you something you never even thought of that you think is a great idea, you can click on New Main Interest, enter the name, and save. And basically you're going to use the main interest to help you track what are your students mostly here to learn about. So do you have more people into core fitness, more people into bully prevention? And with those statistics you can look at your reports and you can help decide what kind of workshops and what kind of classes you want to put on for those different students and for those different interests. Second part here, we got the promotional information. So we talked yesterday about setting up our ranks. Are they by time? Are they by attendance? And depending on what that is, what stages are they going to be? Almost ready and ready. Okay, so this is an automated field. You do click a button and it basically will update everyone at once. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Current rank. So most of the time when you're creating a contact, you're just going to be putting in whatever their start rank is. So you'll have all your ranks listed here. You might even have multiple pages. If you want to find something really quick, for example, most people start on a white belt, I can type in white, and those are my 3 different types of white belts that they can start off on. So I would choose the most relevant one. Next rank you actually don't have to worry about. Current rank program will populate as well based on the current rank. Okay, so current rank program will populate, and next rank will populate as you use the program. The promoted box will also populate with their last promotion date when you promote them, and next promotion will populate when you set their promotion date. Current stripe and next stripe promotion are manual fields, so you can use these manually to indicate when a stripe has been handed out or when a stripe promotion is going to occur. Some people just enter their stripes as ranks like we talked about yesterday, and that is also an available option. Attendance information. So with the attendance rating, we talked about how to set that up on day 1, so you can review that. So A, B, C are non-active. This does take 30 days to give you a very accurate reading. So if the person's brand new, they might start off as just an A because they're too new to judge, or as a non-active. Kind of depends on your settings. Though after 30 days, they will have an accurate reading of where they stand. So that is, once again, sort of like the readiness. It is a button that you click and it updates everybody at once. Last attended, that will populate for you. Classes since last promotion and days since last promotion will also populate. If you're noticing as I'm going along, we have some little orange boxes here. Those are a slight description about what the field means. So it's just a little bit of information for you. We also have the contact information. This one is pretty easy to use. So you can select what kind of phone number they have, enter a primary, a secondary, email, website, so forth. Additional information, you can throw in their birthday. The age will populate with the birthday you select. Usually you have to save and then you will see it change. You can put in your gender. Need info is an interesting field. This one relates to your scanner. So if you're using a scanner to scan in your students and you put something in here, it's actually going to cause a special sounding beep and a little message window to pop up. And it's going to have that little message you put in here. So you could use it for things like a delinquent student, or maybe a student, for example, that left their iPod behind. You just want to alert them that it's here. So a couple different ways you can use this field. Below that we have the marketing information. So you can put in a campaign. We're going to talk about how to build these a little more fully as we continue with the lesson, but if you click on this magnifying glass, there may be some things already in here that you can use. So campaign is, how did they hear about you? So was it in the newspaper? Was it something that they saw on TV, on the radio? How did they come in? So you can also add a new one on the fly if they say something you've never heard about. And the easiest way is to put in the name, and you can always update the information later. We also have referred by, so if they were actually referred by their friend, you can put in the friend's name here. Became a lead, so the day that you create them, if they're just a lead still, you could throw in the lead date. If they've become a customer, you can put in the day that they officially became a customer. And became former customer, you can throw that date in as well. These are optional fields. Contacted date, so basically if they're a lead and you're contacting them, you can put in the last date they were contacted, and that just helps you to track, how often are you communicating with your leads. The system information at the bottom will just stay as read only, so you can see it available here. It's just for the system, so once you're done you can go up to the top and save your brand new contact. The next step here is how to review an existing contact's information. So like I was saying before, you can click on their profile here. You will see some of the information we were just talking about again, but now it's filled in. And if you want to make any changes, you can simply click on Edit, and it will open up to a similar window that we saw before. There is also information along the left-hand side and the top here. We're going to start with the objects on the side here. So first off, we have activities. Activities will record all their promotions and when they're upgraded. You can also add a new activity manually, and this could be like a note on file. So maybe they're calling in sick, or maybe they left something behind, or you just want to record what their progress is like. You can actually put that in here. So the category usually could be like notes if it's manual, but it could be something else as well. contact should be the same. The status, so you can say it's not started, so maybe you need to talk to them about something, or maybe it is completed. Next step, you can put in a date. So this will just default to the exact time you make the record, but of course if this happened a couple hours ago or the day before, you can always fill in the date. Updated to and from is just for the ABC rating, so if they went from a B to an A, that will be recorded here. However, if you feel another use of this field can be done, you can put that in here as well. The name, so the name is the name of the log. So usually you want to put something like, they called in sick again, or the progression with the leg injury is really good. Something that's going to be really obvious. So if you're ever looking for a specific note, it's not going to take you long because you've made a good name or a good title for that note. Go ahead and fill in the description. So whatever it is that you want to say, and then save when you're done. Next, we can see attendance. So these are all the attendances that Laura has had with us, and maybe a couple bookings as well. Emails. So all the emails that we've sent to Laura will be saved here. You can actually click on them to learn a little bit more. So it'll even say if they opened it, if it bounced. Email unavailable means it's either bounced 3 times or they've unsubscribed. So you'll also be able to see if they've unsubscribed, when it was sent, and then the actual email. We can also go to transactions, so we can see all the different types of transactions Laura's had with us. So scheduled, this hasn't been billed yet. Active means it's on an active billing schedule, so maybe it comes out each month, or it's going to come out of her account automatically for the next 6 months or something along those lines. So terminated, we canceled this transaction. And once again, there's active. You'll also see one called completed or complete, and what that means is that it's all done. So if they had an active transaction where it came out month to month, it will be complete. Maybe if they just bought some water, that would be complete as well. You can even learn more by clicking on the transactions here. You can print receipt or terminate if you need to cancel. So terminating will cancel all the future transactions. So the ones that are already completed, that wouldn't be canceled because they're already done, but that would terminate all the scheduled. If you went in even farther into the invoices, you would actually be able to look at a little bit more information about them. Okay, and for some scheduled invoices, you could probably even go in there, process now, forfeit. There could be a check return. Lots of different things you can do, and if you've completed it, you could also refund. We'll talk a little bit more about our transactions and money on our Day 3 lesson. We'll also see her finance information. So the finance info will be updated when you go to sell her a membership or a product. So it'll say, if she doesn't have a credit card on file and she's going to pay by credit card, you can either enter the information or swipe the card, and it would be saved on file. The cards and the account numbers are always encrypted, so you won't be able to see the full number, just the last 4 digits. However, you can charge them either month to month or when you need to. If you ever need to add a new credit card or banking information set on file, you can go New Finance Info, fill in the applicable fields, and if you want it to be the new default, check off the default box. When you go to save, especially if you're replacing an expired or delinquent card, checking off default helps a lot, because what it's going to say is, do you want to replace all the existing transactions with the new credit card? And you can say yes. So all the future payments that are due will come out of the new credit card or banking account, wherever it's coming from. You also have related contacts, so you can put emergency contacts or guardians in here. Click on New Related Contact. Fill in the available information about the contact, and especially for guardians, add a photo. So if you got a lot of different kids, lots of different parents, aunts, uncles, all kinds of people coming in and picking up their kids, and you got a lot of staff or maybe people who are unfamiliar, always add a photo. Okay, it's quick and easy. You can take a picture on your computer, browse, grab the photo, and save it on file. Our next step, we're going to look at some of the buttons across the top here. So create member account we'll discuss a little more on in depth when we're kind of talking about our social site on day 3. But giving a member account basically says you're giving them a login and a password to your social site. And they'll be able to access your lounge and communicate on your lounge. They'll be able to see their own information, so their address, their membership, that sort of thing. Also, if you've got online billing, they'll be able to purchase things online using their existing credit card information if they wish. So those are some of the different things you do. You just click the button. It will email them their login and password. If they say they didn't get it, tell them to check their spam box because it might have gone there. And also just make sure they actually have an email on file. Okay? If they don't have an email on file and you click on this button, it just goes off into cyberspace. Assign class, I usually use this as a group function. Basically what it does when you click on it is navigates away from the page to your calendar where you can add them to a class. You can add several people at once to a class by using this button. So I would usually recommend that you use it as a group function, which I will show you how to do. Log activity is identical as going to activities and clicking new. Setting promotion date and promoting rank, so you can set it through here or you can set it for a group of people at once. So I actually will go a little more in depth into that. Adding a reward. So we talked about rewards on our day 1 lesson where we said, you can automatically give rewards for things. You can also do a manual credit. So if you click on this button, you can see what their balance is and you can add a manual credit if you want to their file, and they can use that towards their purchases in your store. Or you can redeem rewards. Typically you're going to redeem a reward through the store, but you could also click on this button and say they're taking something that you don't have in the store. You could redeem the amount, or maybe you just made a mistake and you gave them $500 instead of $50 and you need to redeem the other $450 to balance it. There's also print. So print relates to our documents, which we'll talk about on the next lesson, which is day 3. Basically, you can click on print, select what kind of letter you want to print them into, and that would merge their information into the letter that you could then print out. So the next thing we're going to move into is our contact list. So I'm going to go back to the contacts here, where we can see a list of all our students. There are some different ways to filter them, so you have some views here. And you also have a find option. So if you're looking for someone specifically, you can type in their name. And everyone with that name will appear, unless of course you have an extra featured student available. So I'm going to go back to our list here, so you can either hit the red X or erase the name and hit enter. You'll also see some of those buttons we were talking about also available up here at the top. When I was speaking about multi-selection, you can actually check off the boxes next to the names of the people you want to either create an account for or promote. And you're able to select the, set the promotion date or create their account or even assign them into a class. If you wanted to book a bunch of people into a class at once, you could do that. Also, you'll notice that different people have different symbols after their names. So some people might just have an X after their name. Okay, and what that means is that they're either just an inquiry, so they're a lead, they haven't purchased anything with us, they're just curious, or maybe they were a former customer and they're no longer with us, or maybe they're just expired. You also see hearts, so hearts indicate that the membership is good. So they're either on month to month, or maybe they're limited but they're not expiring anytime soon, or maybe they have a punch pass and they have lots of classes left. The other thing you'll see are DLs and CLs. So you can see here's a DL, and DL stands for days left. So if your contact is on a limited membership and they're going to expire in the next 7 days, it actually will start to count down for you. So say 7 DL, 6 DL, and eventually 0. You'll also see CL, and CL stands for classes left. So anyone with a punch pass, it'll count down after 3. So 3 CL, 2 CL, and the same thing, eventually 0. So some of the other tricks that we're going to take a look at is how to do setting the promotion dates and promoting the ranks effectively. So one of those things that we can use is the view. So I'll click on the view, and I like to use this one here, students by readiness, and you can even check their attendance ratings too. But we'll go to students by readiness, okay, and in this list I can see each set of individuals, so who's ready, who's almost ready, and who's not ready. Okay, and this helps us to determine who's going to be in the next test. So we can look at the days since their last promotion, and we can look at how many classes they've taken since then. And that will help us to determine, are they actually getting close to the point they need to be at, or are they not really? The system will determine the ready statuses by the way you set up their ranks, by time or by attendance, and how many they needed. But with that in mind, sometimes you need to cross-reference with how many days they've been here, or also, how many classes they've taken, because even though it's 60 days, if they only attended once, then they're really not actually ready. If you're looking at this and you're like, nobody's ready, you might need to run an automation. So there's your name up at the top right, and you'll see Readiness for Rank Promotion. When you click on this button, it will look at their classes and their days, and it will determine if they're ready, almost ready, or not ready. You also have Update Student Rating, so that's for their ABC ratings. When you click on that button, it will determine based on their attendance what kind of rating they should be at. So we look at this list, we look at who we think is ready, and then when we're happy and we want to book them into their test, we want to check off the boxes next to their names. The next step is to set their promotion date. You could just promote them right away if that's how you hand out your promotions, but if not and you have a specific date, you will say set the promotion date. Okay, I'm going to set it for today. Of course, yours probably be in a couple of months or a couple of weeks at least. The next step is, if at any point you want to see who's coming up for promotion, you can actually go to your reports, and there's a spot here called Rank Promotion. And one of those options is going to be promotion this month, and that will show you everyone this month that you need to promote. You can even change this time range if you want. And this just helps you prepare for your testing. You'll also see a spot called Promotion, which will show everybody and how they're organized. Of course, you can then break it down by the almost readies, maybe who's teaching them, maybe what kind of rank they have, hit preview, and see things a little more specifically. Once again, you might want to also just see promotion this month and check your belt order. Okay, so everyone that's going to be promoted this month, you'll see who it is, and you'll also see what their belt size and their next rank is going to be. And with that information, you can pre-order those belts in for the promotion. On the day of the test, what you want to do is go down to the bottom. It says students to be promoted today. You'll be able to see who's got their promotion date for today, and if everybody passes, you can check the box at the top, or if only a couple people didn't pass, you can always uncheck them as well. The next step is to promote. So next we'll say promote rank. It'll say when did that happen, and promote. So if I go into Jessica's profile now, she's no longer a yellow belt now, or not an orange belt, she's now a green belt, and it automatically populated her next belt, which was the blue. And it also mentions here under promoted that that was today, okay? Of course, there's been no classes and no days since her last promotion, so these parts are just blank right now. And that concludes our lessons about our contacts. Our next step is to go into our calendar. So we want to set up different types of classes in our calendar, but first we need to view our calendar. So when we're looking at our calendar, we can view by day, week, month, or timeline. We can also see by specific sets of rules, so we can see based on the user who created the event. So if you see nothing, okay, it might be because nobody's checked off. So what you can do is just make sure that everybody's selected. So if you ever have that problem, just make sure everything has a check mark. So you can view by the user, so who created the class. You can view by the event type, so a class, an exam, whatever it happens to be. And you can also view by the instructor. Okay, so you can color code the classes by who's teaching them. Keeping this in mind, you can also group them together. So there's two little blue guys here. I call them the blue man group. If you click on it, it's going to show each instructor side by side and what they're doing for the day. So if you have a lot of private appointments or bookings, you'll be able to see who's available at what time. If you switch it back to the week view, or you uncheck the blue guys, it's going to go back to the regular view here. Next thing we want to do is to set up a class. So we can either select an area we want the class to be in and click New Event, or we can simply double click on the space we want the class to start. We now want to select what kind of type it is. So is it a class, exam, so forth. We then want to enter in the name. So this could be, the morning workout, the afternoon cardio. It could be all kinds of different things. Maybe it's the juniors, the Cubs. You'll leave the date the same, and you will change the time, okay, or at least adjust the time. So when I come in here, because I double clicked, it only gave me half an hour. So of course that's not going to work. If I need to, I can also just change it to a quarter, so I can say it ends at the 45. Or I can just click on the time and find whatever the next available time is going to be. So I could say 1 p.m. So it goes from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. If I want, I can make this repeat. So I usually recommend this so you don't have to set up your schedule every week. If this class runs daily at the same time, same instructor, you can leave it as daily. If you want, you can also make it run weekly. So maybe it runs every Friday, Saturday. The ends date, so it could be never, so it just goes on forever until you cancel. Or maybe it's a course. You're having it for 3 weeks. It's every Friday, Saturday, and it's going to end at a certain point. So if I click on that white space, I can choose its ending date. If the class ends on the 31st, please make sure you actually check off June 1st, okay? Or whatever date it is. You always want it to be the day after the last class, because if you make it that day, it will end at 12 a.m., which means you're not going to have a class that day. So always make it the day after. Details is a very short and basic description about the class. It's only about 250 characters long, so most of your class description should be on your social site. The event location, so if you have more than one floor, you can throw in the location here. You can say floor A, floor B. Maybe you always teach at the same place, but this class is held at a community center, so you can throw that in there. And if it's always the same place, you can just leave it blank. The organizer, that's just whoever creates the class. So right now it's me, so that's why I'm there. The instructor, I can click on the space here and I can select the instructor for my class. Who gets to see it? So if this is all internal, it'll be company only. Maybe this is just an internal class. I could also say it's member or public. Okay, so member just means that only members logged into my social site will be able to see it. Or public, everyone can see it. And this is for the scheduler and for BookMe. So if you have these selected and you're using one of those online booking features, then this will help you be able to put those usable schedules in there and have people book online. Okay, so there's also price. Be careful with price. Price is only applying to classes or maybe workshops that have a specialized cost. If this is just like a regular everyday class that's accessible by their membership, don't put in a price. If this class needs prepayment or it's a workshop and it needs prepayment, then put in the price. And if you need to, you can always add a tax. So you see that here and you just click on the little green button. Maximum capacity. So if there's a maximum amount of people that can be in the class, enter it here. This won't stop you from being able to overbook the class. So you and your staff can still continue to book into the class even if it's at its max capacity. What it does stop is people from booking in online. So if you are allowing for online booking, people can't just keep booking into the class. It will say that it's full. And lastly, we have our starting rank and our ending rank. So we talked a little bit about this on our day one lesson where we said, if you set up your scanner and you want it to be kind of rank specific or have a good idea of what's going on with the classes, on your classes you need to set up that starting and ending rank. And what you're doing is like if you have 3 classes at the same time and each one is a little bit different. So one's for Karate Cubs, one's for Karate Adults, and one's for Aikido All. Okay, the scanner is going to know which one they belong to based on their current rank on their profile. So if their current rank is White Belt Aikido, it's going to scan them into their Aikido class. So it's easy to set a rank. All you do is click on the magnifying glass, click the start, click the end, and you're good to go. And you can save. Once you've created your class, you can always go in and edit by clicking on the class. 2 options, edit the occurrence. So if you're taking manual attendance or maybe just swapping out the teacher for the day, you could use this. Edit the series will change the entire series. So if I have those classes every Friday, Saturday, all my Friday, Saturday classes in that series are going to change if I click on this button. So maybe the teacher completely changes or the time changes. You might want to use edit the series. I'm going to use edit the occurrence. And what I can do here to edit the class is click on Edit, and then I can make my change and save. If I want to take manual attendance, what I want to do is click on Attendees here on the left. If anyone's pre-booked into the series, I can attend them. If someone was just pre-booked in general, I can attend them. If someone's not there, I can say canceled or delete them. And of course, I can add people this way as well. So I can say Laura came, so I got to make sure that I pick the right person, and add. Okay, and that'll take attendance. If I'm pre-booking, of course, I can also say, type in the name of the person. Let's see who else we have here. Try Andrew. Okay, I can say Andrew. I'll make him booked and add. Also, there's two options here on the side I can follow along with. One is how to create a new contact through the planner. You can do this. You would type in their name, so their first and last name, comma, their phone number, comma, their email address, okay? And then you click create and add. You can also do group RSVP, so just like Facebook, if you're having like an event like an open house or a tournament, you can invite everyone out at once, okay? So you can invite all your contacts. So that's where we could use the assign class. We can check off all the contacts we want to use and assign them into the class. The next step would be to send the RSVP request, and that would send them an email asking, yes, no, maybe, do you want to attend this event? And they would respond. You'll see the response appear next to their name. So if I click on this button here, it's going to say no response yet. If I uncheck it and then check it again, it's going to resend that email to all the people who haven't responded. So if it's really close to the date and you just want to try and get a last final count, uncheck it and check it again. It's not going to send to people who have responded, so it's not going to irritate them. It's just going to send to people who haven't, because maybe they missed it or forgot or whatever happens to be. You can also see there's notify booked attendees, so a certain amount of time before the event. If you have a big event and you want to notify those booked people, you can choose an amount of time beforehand. You'll check the box, and it will send them an email, 1 day before, 2 days before, whatever it is that you pick, just reminding them that they are booked into that event. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is our campaigns. So we can add a new campaign here. We can also edit or delete these. So you can delete or just click on it to edit. You can add a new one, new campaign. You're going to enter a title. So the name here is just the title of the campaign. So is it a flyer? Was it a specific type of flyer, newspaper, radio ad, whatever? Some people want to be really specific. They'll say it was in this specific newspaper on this specific date. So you can do that to track it really closely. Or you can just say, it doesn't matter. I want all my newspaper articles tracked, so I'm just going to lump it under newspaper or whatever it happens to be. Description is up to you. You can put anything you like in here. Add a copy. So basically the add copy means if you put something out in a flyer or a newspaper or whatever, you can actually grab a copy of it from your hard drive and save it on file, and that will just help you know where it is for next year. You can put in the link. So if you have something on a friend's site, maybe a blog page, you can put in a link that will take you directly there. Status, so is it active or not active? Regardless if this box is checked or not, it's still going to appear on the contact selector, okay? So you don't have to worry. This is just for your information about its activity. The type that it came out on, and the estimated and actual cost, which is just to help you plan for the future. So you spent, you thought it was 300, it came out to 500, and you got 15 leads. It's probably worth doing it again. But if maybe you only got you got 15 leads, but none of them actually signed up, then it might not be worth it again. Okay, so there's different ways of looking at the costs and how it's doing. Once you're done, you would save. And of course, if you ever want to see how something's doing, you can either check in on your reports, or you can go directly to the campaign, and you'll be able to see who is related to that particular campaign. The next spot we're going to talk about is our memberships. So we're going to click on memberships. And you will probably have some in here already that you can work with. Once again, you can click on them to edit or delete. Also, you can create a new one from scratch, so you'll click New Membership. You'll enter the name of the membership. So especially if you're selling online, make the name make sense, okay? So if, 6M3 makes sense to you and your staff, that's fine, but it might not make sense to your contacts online. So you want to name it relatively appropriately, right? So you could say it's a 6-month paid in full, it's a 6-month ongoing, or you could say it's a 6 month to month, or something like that. So lots of different options. The description, especially if you have something that's kind of special, like a senior's pass or a student pass, you might want to put something in here, such as, bring in your student ID the first time, or something like that, just a little bit more information. Number of lessons, so especially if this is a punch pass, you want to make sure you put in the right amount, so 10 or 15 or whatever it happens to be that they get. If this is a pass that basically goes month to month or has a 6-month date, but they can come as much as they want, you actually want to type in the word unlimited. Next, you've got your duration, so how long does it last? If it's 6 months, for example, it would be 180 days, or in some cases you might be generous and say 182. If it doesn't have an expiry date, you just leave this blank. There's also show to. So who gets to see it, especially for online shopping? Company only is usually like a special pass or a Groupon. Member, maybe you have like renewal prices. And public, first time buyer prices, different things that they might want to see so they can purchase. Add an image, so you can always click on browse. I always recommend adding an image even if you're keeping everything internal. Staff can become accustomed to seeing, a penguin on a blue background, a penguin on a green background, or whatever, and they'll know what that pass means. Okay, or just put like a giant 6 on a green background and they'll know that's the 6 month to month. And the same will work for, of course, if you're selling it to the public online or your members. It's nice to have a little image there for them to look at. So once again, you can click on browse and grab the photo from your hard drive. Just like our contacts, we can actually feature our memberships. So if we have memberships that are maybe our best sellers or on a discounted price, we will probably want to feature it, so it's at the top of our list. At the bottom we have our payment pattern. So depending on how this membership is set up, the price and the payment pattern will vary. If this is a 6-month pass, right, and they're going to pay you in installments, what you want to do is set the price to say $600 and they pay you each month. Okay, they pay you $100 a month. So you can say it's monthly, but there are other options available. And you can say the number of payments is 6. That's pretty easy. If it's an ongoing pass, so basically they pay you $150 a month until they cancel, you're going to check off the ongoing box, and the price is going to be the month-to-month price. If at any point you need to add tax as well to your membership, please check the taxable box, click on the green plus, and select the tax that it's applicable. Another spot we have down here is our pay now. So this is our down payment option. So especially with installments, we probably have a down payment, like if it's a 6-month, okay, and it's $600 and our down payment, like our registration fee is $50, we can always just add in that extra fee because it's going to be deducted from the total price and say $50, okay? Now, most people will lump the registration fee together with the first month's payment. So it'll still be $650, except for the first payment that is $100 and there's $50 for registration. Okay, so their first payment is $150. Make sure it's not 6 payments. It's actually going to be 5 now because the pay now counts as 1 payment. So 1 plus the 5 is now 6 payments. So you only want the number of payments to be 5 if you're including their first month and their down payment. With ongoing, it's quite simple. You can just, this would still just be like $100 and the pay now could just be $50, or maybe it could be $150 for the first month. That's fine too. The next step here is to save. When you want to purchase a pass, and you can see I got a couple that are featured up here at the top, what you want to do is click on Buy Now. Buy Now is going to take it to the store. You now want to enter your customer's name. So maybe I want to sell this to Lori. So I can click on her name, the payment start date. So the payment start date relates to these additional payments here. It does not reflect on the down payment. The down payment is today. But of course, the down payment includes our first month, so we don't want to pay for the down payment on May 24th, and we don't want to pay for our first payment on May 24th because I'm paying for 2 months at once. So I want to set the second payment to say be June 24th. Okay, and we'll see here it's reflected now. So the first payment is today, and then the consecutive payments will start on this date here. Payment type, so how are they going to pay? Use card on file, so if you're using a credit card, you'll be able to add a new credit card by either just putting your cursor here and swiping or entering in the information manually. If you're doing all your billing in-house, you can click No Finance Info just to indicate it was taken. And of course, if they've purchased before, their credit card will appear on the drop-down. It's only the last 4 digits, so you could say Visa ending in 1001. They confirm, click on it, and you're good to go. The down payment can be paid separately than the monthly payments. So say they're going to give you cash today for $150, but all their other payments are going to be on Visa. That's fine. You can set that up. Or you can just keep it as the same as the scheduled payment. So it's the same credit card for everything. At the bottom here, we also have the billing address, so you can copy the address from the customer. This will copy whatever they have on file. Of course, if they don't have anything, I always recommend filling it in. This helps you get lower billing rates, okay? So the rates are typically lower if you include a billing address. Visa and MasterCard really like to see that. At the top, you can also modify some of the information here. So for example, where it says items, 6 month, you'll notice you can actually modify the price. This won't modify the down payment, but it will reflect on your monthly payments. You can change your quantity for anything that has a quantity. Because a membership can only be sold one at a time, there will be no quantity option for that, but if you were selling bottles of water, you could change that on the fly. You can add in the discounts, which we talked about how to set up on our day 1 lesson, and you'll see your total amount. If you make an error, you can always hit the red X, and that will cancel out the item, and in this case, because there's only one item, it would cancel the sale. When you're ready to proceed, go down to the bottom and click Complete. Actually, I'll have to do a quick modification here, so I will say No Finance Info and Complete. At this point, you can select to print a receipt, or you can even email the receipt. If they don't have an email on file, when you click on this, ask for their new email, and it will automatically update their profile. Our next step is going to be our products. Products are also relatively easy to set up. You can click on New Product, edit or delete any of the existing products. Pretty simple and straightforward. So the name of the product, once again, you can either lump things together or keep them separate. So you could say, you know, this is a white t-shirt extra small, or you could just say these are white t-shirts, or these are just t-shirts, even if you want to go to that step as well. Put in a description if you like, and the price of the item. Add a tax by checking the box and clicking the green plus. Show to, so once again, who gets to see it. Definitely add an image always for your products, that always helps. You can feature it. Enter the size and color if applicable. You can select a vendor. So I'll show you how to set up vendors as well on our day 3 lesson, but if you want to add one on the fly, you can click New Vendor. The name is the only required field, but it's always nice to know and add in the other options as well. And of course, you would just save. Enter in the cost, so whatever you paid for the wholesale price. Available quantity, so what do you have on hand? The reorder quantity will actually be the amount that you reach when you need to order more. So if it's 5, at the 5 item point where we've only got 5 of that item left, we need to order more because maybe it takes a long time to get in. So you'd fill that in. Scheduled payments, you can still do payment patterns if you have a rather large item that you're selling. And also there's a spot for the barcode if you have the barcode number. Once you're done creating your product, go ahead and save it. Selling a product is exactly the same as selling a membership, but you can sell more than one of them at the same time. If you are selecting a lot of things, you can click Add to Cart, Add to Cart, Add to Cart. All the items will add up in the cart. You'll see the item number change. And once again, you can make any modifications you need to, including adjusting the quantity. Lastly, we're going to talk about our reports. So in your reports, you'll have several main reports like attendance, marketing, money, and rank promotion. If you install other applications from the App Store, you may have daily cash out, time card, and different options like that. I'm going to talk about the base ones today. So we're going to look at attendance. So attendance today, what do you have today? Class report and class report special attention. So those are types of reports that you run right before you're going to teach class. The class will be available for you to select here. You'll click preview and the information will populate. So right before you teach class, you run this report. You know, especially if you have kids, you might want to run the class report. Make sure everybody's seated and there that's supposed to be. Or the class report special attention. You got 4 main special categories here that will just help you kind of pay attention to what's going on during class. So especially for medical conditions, maybe it's someone's first time. Membership renewal, so you know maybe they're coming due. Or low attendance, they don't come very much at all. Class comparison, that puts your classes side by side and then you can determine what's more popular. You can always adjust your date range by selecting a specific date or clicking on these 2 fields here, which will give you kind of like a specific range. So you can say, you can click on days ago and you can pick a specific day. Probably for this you'd want to go with something like last end days, last 60 days, and you can see what happened in the last 60 days. Click apply. And once again you can see that my report's a little bit longer now. You can always export the information to a CSV, and you can also print. So if you go to your file at the top and select print preview, you'll be able to see what your report's going to look like, and then of course print it. Memberships expiring within 60 days. We also have marketing. So customers and campaigns, so who has a became customer dates? Remember we were talking a little bit about became lead, became customer, became former. That's available on the contacts page layout near the bottom. So if you fill in those fields and you have some active dates there, you'll be able to see some information, what kind of campaign they had when they became a customer, what kind of campaign did they have when they became a lead. We've also got email results and email sent. So results just means, how many times were things opened and what was the name of the email. Email sent shows you all the emails that you've sent, broken down by their subject line. And also, once again, you'll be able to see if it was opened. So in this situation, this was open, so that's why it says true. In this situation, it says false. That's why it was not actually opened. So we also have marketing. So if you want to see different specific types of marketing information, you could say I want to see, let's make something up here. You want to see like from this point to today. You want to see which campaign it was specifically. So maybe I want to see everything from the web page and the type of student it brought in. I could be very specific and hit preview. Okay, so nothing was brought in. I don't have very many people, but you could be specific. Once again, you can export to CSV or you can print. Monthly member sign up, so that's when you click on the create member account button or someone signs up online through your website or your social site. It'll keep their information here. Prospects and campaigns, so just new people, they have no dates, like no became lead, nothing, and they're brand new. Students, so whoever's a student and what kind of campaign they came in with. Students by interest, we were talking about this a little bit earlier when we were saying, you want to look at whatever the main interests are for a certain period of time. You can look here. And also we have team activity. So team activity is going to show you all those logs. So those activity records or logs, whichever you want to call them. So here's all the information on attendance ratings, memberships. Oh, there's my notes. I want to pay attention to those notes, and you can even click on them and learn a little bit more. We also have money. So money will make a little more sense as well when we talk in our day 3 lesson. But you've got bank reconciliation at the top here, and that'll say here's all the money you've taken in, and you can actually set the settlement dates, to match up with your billing statement that you receive, and so that you can line up all your sales and say, oh yeah, that makes sense that I'm receiving that money into my bank account, and these are the settlement dates. It all lines up. Billing and payments, so again you can select all kinds of different methods and preview and see what you're making and how. Cash reward details, so if you're using cash rewards you can view by person what kind of rewards they've been receiving. and how those rewards have been credited or used. You can also just have a full kind of like lump sum of everybody together for a certain time period, so all the different things that have been done. Credit cards expiring next month. Customer purchase matrix, so what have people purchased and when, and the grand total. Delinquents, anyone who's delinquent. EFTs in progress, so anything that's going through the bank right now and the process is in progress. Expense by category, so how much are you spending on rent, gas, food, hydro. Forecast, we'll look at the next 30 days and see what kind of money is going to be coming in from your invoices. Income by category, so memberships and products. Memberships by month, so which membership is bringing in what. Products by month, same idea. Profit and loss, this is one of my favorites, so you'll be able to actually see how much you're making. It will compare your income to your expenses and give you a little bit of an idea here. Sales including tax, so you'll see that available. And successful payments, any payment that's gone through. You also have the rank promotion folder, so that's got your belt order, promotion, and promotions this month, which we talked about with our contacts. That concludes the day 2 lesson, and I look forward to seeing you in day 3.